A warm welcome to all participants to our today's event, Hydrogen Heralds Net Zero, organized by Indian Energy Skill Development. ISD is into training, consultancy, and upskilling in new technologies for working professionals and students. As you all know, nations have united together under Paris Agreement to reduce greenhouse gas emission, which is causing global warming. Hydrogen will play a vital role for green energy transition, and hence our topic today is Hydrogen Heralds Net Zero. And we have our speaker, Dr. Debesh Patra. Dr. Patra is our program director for hydrogen programs. He is a member of Fellow Energy Institute, London, and he is a former director of planning of Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, and he had 2 years with Department of Economics Analysis and Policy Reserve with Reserve Bank of India, Mumbai. He has authored 3 books and 45 published papers, and he has extensively worked in the area of petroeconomics and energy transitions. I request everybody to pose their questions after the session. Now I'll request Dr. Patra to start the session. Over to Dr. Patra.
Thank you, Manju. Good afternoon, my dear friends, all the participants of this webinar earlier. During this next 40 minutes time, what we will be discussing is about hydrogen as contribution to net zero, and our focus will remain in India, though we will draw so many examples, etc. from the world. Now, some of the topics that we will be discussing is India's drive for decarbonization and reduction in greenhouse gas emission. We'll be also talking about what is net zero, what is commitment, which is the target year, how can net zero be achieved if at all, challenges of net zero in India, how hydrogen provides the most appropriate tool, energy basket composition under net zero scenario for India, challenges of hydrogen adoption, and then there will be a lot of discussion about the preparation, what kind of action points we have, what are the sectors that we need to act upon. So everything puts together, as you can see, it's a complex issue. There are too much of uncertainty, and the actualization of this scenario depends on innovation, collaboration, and investment. And this webinar is just an attempt to open an approach to the subject. We will certainly not be able to see the end of the subject. If you look at the domain this subject covers, it covers the domain of scientific study, technical innovation, economic analysis, business strategy, and public policy. So you can see the vast scope of these domains. Everything under this domain we will not be able to touch or discuss, but we will see the outcome of this discussion as it is happening at a global level. The first question that we like to address, what is net zero? Of course, everyone has got some kind of idea about net zero, but we will get a clarity and precisely. Net zero, it's also referred to as carbon neutrality. It does not mean that a country would bring down its emission to zero. It implies the employment of mechanism that would offset the amount of carbon emitted by a country into the atmosphere by absorbing an equivalent amount of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. And that is why it is said net. Now, the time taken to reduce net emissions to zero, and thus the total mass of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, will determine the final equilibrium temperature of the Earth. Now the scientific communities have given us a target of 2 degrees Celsius, and some where it is also being referred as 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial time. And we must also understand that from the pre-industrial time till today, say till 2022, there is already some amount of greenhouse gas existing in the atmosphere. Now there is a theoretical limit beyond which the temperature would exceed 1.5 or exceed 2 degrees Celsius. Therefore, it is imperative that the world, as it contributes to the emission, would keep its emission limited to certain level. And that is called the carbon budget, what the world has got. Now, how much is the budget? There are various estimates of that budget. There are various ways of mitigating the carbon emissions. These are matter of scientific details to which we are not going. We are quickly coming to how hydrogen can help in the process of this climate management and reduction of the greenhouse gas. Now, hydrogen is a typical gas. It is available everywhere, but it is not available in the form whereby it can be used as a fuel. Therefore, it has to be kind of generated or produced from the compounds where hydrogen remains as embedded. And once that hydrogen is available, then it has got a lot of properties. Again, details of the properties I am not going to, but there are 5 properties which are important from the application point of view. And those are, it is abundant, but it is costly to produce as a low carbon energy carrier. Now, why it is low carbon or otherwise what it could be, that during the discussion sometime I'll explain that point. The second property that hydrogen satisfies, that it is combustible, but it is not similar to natural gas as far as its combustion behavior is concerned. It is lightweight, but low energy density is an issue. Liquid hydrogen and derivatives overcome the limitations, but this conversion to liquid and conversion to other products, it becomes inefficient. And then it has a great potential, but also significant challenges. So if we are able to overcome some of the challenges that we have just seen, then hydrogen has a great promise. And the promise is, in line with the climate and net zero goal, many industries have a pressing need to replace carbon intensive process by reconfiguring their plants, machines, models, and practices to switch to hydrogen, which can be a substitute for either fossil fuel based energy or feedstock needs in these industries. Now, some of the examples we must see to understand the implication. For example, long-haul trucking fleets can replace diesel with hydrogen fuel cell. Heat processes in cement, aluminum, and steel making can be fueled by hydrogen. Chemical companies that produce ammonia can swap. Currently, they are using gray or brown hydrogen, and they can swap for blue or green equivalents. So everything put together, hydrogen, the question that I am addressing here, so much of hydrogen is being spoken about. Is it a hype, or it's an imperative and it's a possibility? Now, there are many things that has been spoken about hydrogen. A significant point that we need to know, that hydrogen as a fuel is nothing new. But what is new today is that decarbonized hydrogen is what we are talking about. Therefore, the life cycle of hydrogen, right from production till its consumption, there is no carbon emission. And then the second important point is hydrogen can be used not only as a fuel, but it can store energy, and therefore it can carry energy from one place to another place where it can be better consumed. And hydrogen derivatives like ammonia, methanol, and synthetic kerosene are the prime low carbon contenders as an example. And the third point, significant point about hydrogen, from where I can make a statement that it is not a hype, it's an imperative, and it's a possibility. There is an emerging consensus that low carbon and renewable hydrogen will play an important role in future decarbonized energy system. How prominent a role remains is a bit uncertain, but various estimates point to hydrogen being anything from 10 to 20% of global energy use in future low carbon energy system. Now we know there is a drive towards sustainability. Now sustainability essentially means efficient utilization of resources and wastes. And in our case, we are taking resources as energy. There are 4 R that are being advocated if we have to efficiently use the resource and the waste. One is you reduce. Second, you reuse. And third, you recycle. And fourth, you remove. Now, everything these 4 R together constitute this circular carbon economy. Now, how hydrogen is fitting into this circular carbon economy in a sense, how it is contributing to each of these 4 R, let us have a look. Reduce. Reduce use of resources and energy. Reduce carbon emission. Now here hydrogen plays a role. Reuse. Reuse resources. Reduce energy and carbon emission. And there again hydrogen comes into play. Recycle waste by renewable energy. And there hydrogen has a role. And remove, you remove the balance and unavoidable carbon by using CCUS technology. CCUS is carbon capture, usage, and store. And there, that is a part of the hydrogen process, blue hydrogen generation process. And direct air capture, which can happen by afforestation and geological storage by using the CCUS technology. Therefore, what we see in this slide is that all the 4 R's of the circular carbon economy, hydrogen has a role to play, and that is where the significance of hydrogen comes in. Now let us look at the world. Why we are looking at the world? Because it's an incipient technology. Many countries in the world have taken few steps towards the adoption of hydrogen, either production or storage, transportation, and usage. Now we will draw some examples from there. Now the statement that we are making here is, what is the role of hydrogen? As I discussed in continuation of that, hydrogen plays a critical role in enabling higher degree of electrification and a stronger penetration of renewable power generation to build decarbonized energy system. Hydrogen's versatility enables it to store energy over long period and provide energy system resilience by making system balancing possible. Now, how all these things happen are a matter of detail. I am not, within this limited time, I am not going into that, but then the role that hydrogen plays, that is what is being brought out. Hydrogen can facilitate the transport of clean energy over long distance via pipeline and shipping, thus unlocking previously untapped stranded renewable resources. Hydrogen can reshape current chemicals, fuels, and metal production sectors and connect them with the power industry. Now, this systemic role of hydrogen makes possible a holistic and hence faster and more cost-effective decarbonization across sectors and regions. By regions, what we mean that today for fossil fuel, there are geographies where it is being produced and there are geographies where it is being consumed, and the fossil fuel physically has to be transported from the production zone to the consumption zone. But hydrogen can be produced and consumed in a distributed way. Therefore, every region, every locality, subject to certain, of course, favorable conditions, can produce hydrogen and can consume hydrogen. Therefore, the interdependence of one region on the other, or the need for a massive transportation of energy sources from one production location to the deficit location, that kind of necessity would not be there. In terms of end use, hydrogen is critical for decarbonizing industry, that is as a feedstock for steel, fertilizer, and cement, etc. Long-range ground mobility, which means it can be used as a fuel in heavy-duty trucks, coaches, long-run passenger vehicles and trains. For international travel, it can produce synthetic fuels for maritime vessels and aviation. Heating application, that is, it can be used as a high-grade industrial heat, and power generation, which means hydrogen can be used as a dispatchable power generation and backup power. With zero life cycle emission of green hydrogen, hydrogen's contribution to the net zero process is therefore very significant. IEA, International Energy Agency, identified 4 technologies which can help to both reduce emission directly and to remove the balanced carbon dioxide that cannot be avoided. And in that 4, hydrogen is a significant commodity. Now, taking into account the various forces that has been working in the world, McKinsey has predicted that projected, if the current balanced hydrogen is to be mitigated and further generation of hydrogen is to, further generation of carbon dioxide is to be avoided, then the world by 2050 needs 660 million tons of hydrogen. Now, what exactly the world can produce is a subject of many favorable forces, but some projections have been done that world by 2050 can produce or will produce 536 million tons of hydrogen. And correspondingly, the share of other fuels will get reduced by the year 2050. This graph shows hydrogen to come in a big way from 2030 onwards, and then the graph widens till the year 2050. However, everything that we said, constituting the promise of hydrogen, is, of course, involves a lot of challenges. Now, some of the challenges which have been listed here: hydrogen requires large amount of either precious renewable energy or extensive carbon capture and storage technology, and should be prioritized for hard to abate sectors. Elsewhere, it may be inefficient and expensive compared with the direct use of electricity. Unabated fossil-based hydrogen used as an industrial feedstock, which is for non-energy purpose in fertilizer and refineries, can be replaced by green and blue hydrogen immediately. This is an important source of demand before fuel switching scales up across energy sectors. Now, safety of hydrogen and toxicity of ammonia are key risks. Public perception of risk and financial risk are also important to manage to ensure increased hydrogen uptake. The low and late uptake of hydrogen suggests that for hydrogen to play its optimal role in the race for net zero, much stronger policies are needed to scale beyond the present forecast in the form of stronger mandates, demand-side measures giving confidence to uptake to producers, and higher carbon prices. There are some imminent policy dilemmas arising from the crisis response of various governments of the world. Now, global energy system shocks have strong repercussions for net zero action. Now, recently, the world has come through two crises. One is energy supply crisis post-Ukraine war, which started on 24th February 2022, and demand contraction, demand side shock that started from early 2021. Now, it is a moment for the governments of the world to choose which direction they will take. Either they will promote the decarbonization process, or they will take care of immediate requirement of the people of the country and continue the fossil fuel dependence at least for some time. Therefore, the governments of the world are in a kind of position, difficult position, to take a call with respect to whether to build or invest in fossil fuel gas infrastructure, whether to have this fossil fuel supply, renewables and decarbonized power, whether to invest there, whether to give price incentives to the existing fossil fuel based supply, whether to encourage behavioral change towards decarbonization, and whether to increase efficiency and electrification. So it's a point of dilemma. The governments of the world have to take a call, and various countries in their under various situations are taking this call, what to do in the immediate future and what to do in the long-term future. Coming to India's net zero process and mechanism, where does India stand with respect to climate and emission front? India is the third largest emitter of carbon dioxide emission after China and USA. Presently, it emits close to 2.65 gigaton of carbon dioxide annually, which is approximately 7% of the world's total greenhouse gas emission in 2019. Of course, this is minimal if it is compared to 28% of the world's share done by China and 15% of the world's share by USA. Now, which are the sectors in India that are contributing to this greenhouse gas emission? Energy sector contributes 68.7%, followed by agriculture, which contributes 19.6%, followed by industrial process, which contributes to 6%, and land use changes 3.8%, and forestry 1.9%. Of course, in terms of per capita emission, India is lowest in, and it requires lot of energy to develop and prosper. And despite that, India has taken a lot of measures that I am not going through. We all know that India has taken a place of net zero by 2070 and certain other 4 measures towards decarbonization by 2030. The question is where to start and how to progress. Net zero as a policy ambition is very good, but then actionable points, there are processes to be followed, there are policies to be in place, and we need capital investment. And that action has to cover major sectors where emission takes place, including energy user sectors, low emission energy providers who will produce those and provide the energy, for example, hydrogen, who will provide the hydrogen, and logistics, making the product available at the user end, and the market. Therefore, it calls for a transformation in a scale that was unseen before. And the preparation has to start now. The window for action is 2020 to 2030, beyond which this 1.5 degrees Celsius or to even 2 degrees Celsius temperature rise will not happen. So for India, net zero essentially means it is a carbon neutral development. Now mark the word development. India is a developing country. It has to develop. The standard of living of people has to improve. The quality of life has to improve. Large segment of the population have to rise below the poverty line. So if all these things have to happen, then there will be more of energy consumption. It can be fossil fuel, it can be conventional fuel, it can be even low emission fuel. Therefore, the challenge for India is to combine economic development plus carbon mitigation. And the transformation effect will be seen sector-wise technology, low carbon fuel availability, logistics, and of course at what price we are making it available. So when we talk of net zero, it does not really remain confined to the energy or oil companies or coal company, that kind of energy suppliers, producers, etc. Net zero is an all-out strategy. It means transformation in how the country produces energy, consumes energy, how we move, what we eat, how our buildings are designed, how much emission comes from airplanes, buses, trains, and cars. Net zero also means change in agriculture-related policies, given that emissions from the sector are mainly from rice cultivation and livestock rearing. Net zero also depends upon energy efficiency. It depends upon electrifying transportation. And it depends upon turning from coal to renewable energy as primary source of energy. It also means an orderly transition in the power sector. Therefore, challenges in India is achieving net zero means deep and significant cuts to fossil fuel use that could affect the development trajectory of India. And for India to achieve a net zero target by 2070, usage of coal, especially for power generation, would need to peak by 2040 and drop by 99% between 40 and 60. And the consumption of crude oil across sectors would also need to peak by 2050 and fall substantially by 90% between 50 to 70. Now, some international collaboration is very important with respect to technology transfer and finance mobilization. And of course, if we do not take any action, then also there are costs. It is not that there are only costs for net zero. If there is no net zero process, then also the country will pay in terms of various damages. Now, World over, 9 sectors have been identified where action has to be taken to make this world net zero, to achieve net zero. Those 9 sectors are automotive, power, oil and gas, aviation, shipping, steel, cement, mining, forestry, food, agriculture, and other land use. Actions have been taken with respect to what is required in these sectors so that the desired net zero status can be achieved by 2050, because world is taking as deadline as 2050. World means many countries in the world, and many companies have taken target date for net zero by 2030, 2040, 2045, 2050. However, India as a country has taken 2070 because of the challenges that I described earlier. So for each of the sectors, there has to be plan what is required to be done and what supports required for those actions to be taken. For example, automotive. What will be status by 2050? What are the kind of momentum going on, and how those momentums can be accelerated? So for each of these sectors, there have been action plan. I am not going to get into details. Those are there in the presentation. And the purpose of this, bringing it to the discussion, is that world over, many countries have already identified the sectors where action requires. Similarly, United Kingdom has prepared their plan between 2020 to 2025, 25 to 2030, 2035 to 40, and then 40 to 50. What all actions have to be done for the UK? Those also have been done. Now, what is for India? This is last 10 minutes I'll take here. India has an advantage. The first advantage is that it is going to be a populous country, and a lot of economic transformation is happening. And the second is that as the country is developing, the green transformation is also happening or can happen, because India has not reached a stage where it has adjusted its carbon budget. India's energy strategy is primarily based on energy availability, energy accessibility, and energy affordability. India has already taken some movement on the trajectory of energy transition by way of increasing electrification, higher penetration of cleaner fuel in energy mix, accelerated adoption of energy efficient technologies, and rising digitalization. So these are already in the process to a varying degree. Therefore, India's energy strategy is already on this path. And for India, the hydrogen transition efforts needs to be situated within the context of low carbon economy, energy security, and a larger economic development ambition. India's thrust towards low carbon economy therefore currently hinges on an accelerated transition towards higher share of renewables in the electricity grid, complemented by electrification of end uses such as transportation. But there is a tacit recognition that materials critical to industrialization and urbanization such as steel, ammonia, cement, and plastic have no substitute and cannot be decarbonized with electricity alone. And there comes the role of hydrogen. Green hydrogen is a necessary lever to achieve a truly low carbon economy. For India, this transition can be synergistic with the scale, ambition, and economic competitiveness of its renewable industry. Unlike fossil fuel, which have resource and geographic constraints, green hydrogen can be produced anywhere, there is ample renewable potential. India is blessed in that aspect. This will enable the emergence of an energy carrier that is domestically produced, reducing dependence on imports for key energy commodities like natural gas and petroleum. Now the question comes on the cost. How much it costs for the hydrogen to produce and to make available? There are three graphs presented here. The first is green hydrogen, which is produced from renewable electricity. Second is natural gas based hydrogen, which is a gray hydrogen. It is produced from natural gas, largely methane. And then the third one is the coal based hydrogen, which is of course a fossil fuel based hydrogen. Now, if we have to currently today produce green hydrogen in India, there are cost components, are cost of electricity, there is capital cost, operation cost, and other costs, and totally the green hydrogen is costing somewhere around $4 per kg, and it ranges between 4 to 7. Now, when it comes to gray hydrogen, with these cost components, it comes to somewhere $3.5 per kg, and it ranges between 3.5 to 4. When it comes to coal, it is the cheapest. Again, it is something like $3.2 per kg, and it ranges from 3.2 to 6. Now, at this level, hydrogen doesn't appear to be competitive, but then there are avenues for price reduction. And some of the avenues that have been taken from a document prepared by NITI Aayog in 2022 is duty waiver, reduction of GST and transmission and distribution charges of electricity, reduction of renewable power tariff for hydrogen production, and revenue recycling of carbon tax or coal cess. Now, India, like world, has identified 9 sectors. In India, 5 sectors have been identified where action is required. And after those 5 sectors, some cross-sectoral enablers also have been identified. Now, those are energy, mobility means transport, industry where energy is used as a fuel, building means household consumption, and agriculture, mostly for fertilizers and running pumps, electricity. Now, 4 cross-sectoral enablers are accelerated approach to green technology innovation, overarching framework to catalyze green finance, integrated approach to carbon capture, usage and storage, and plan for climate adaptation. Each of these sectors detailed working have been provided. I am not going into details. These are available. Now, this slide shows what efforts government has taken, the areas where government has already taken action, and in those respective areas, which are the companies who are really investing. Now, the scenario in India is that even much before there is policy discussion, or much before there is a general awareness about hydrogen and its effectiveness in reducing the greenhouse gas emission, Indian companies, Indian corporate sector, they have understood the subject very well, and they have taken investment commitment on various areas of this net zero action, and these are the companies that has been listed. Now, the question that comes is, yes, we have to innovate and lot of intervention is required, but each intervention means investment. It has been estimated 1.1 trillion US dollar is required if India's net zero status has to be achieved by 2070. Now details have been points have been given: power, mobility, and industries, which are the total investment required, and aggregate investment required is 1.1 trillion US dollar. And the next column says what kind of investment is possible to generate given our environment of investment environment, capital mobilization environment, and the investors' willingness to invest, and how much has to come from foreign country. And as estimated, I said 1.1 trillion. No, I'm sorry. It is 10.1 trillion. 10.1 trillion US dollar at 2020 rate of dollar is required for this net zero status to be achieved by 2070. Now, we need international financing for this gap that is there. And already there are 450 companies from 45 countries have created an alliance, and they have committed to invest 130 trillion US dollar world over. Now it is a challenge and opportunity for us, how much of that capital we can galvanize and bring it for our to the country. Now some financial policy measures have already taken. For example, SEBI has taken some measures to declare this sustainability report, etc. These are primarily to make sure that an investor has a confidence in this investment, and RBI has taken some measures for strengthening the kind of investment required for this renewable sector. Now the last just 2 minutes I'll take. I'm aware that I'm running out of time. What is the energy basket in net zero scenario with technology breakthrough and supportive policy? Now we have taken the actual data of 2019, the various sources where energy is being consumed, like coal, oil, gas, nuclear, hydro, renewable, and hydrogen. We have projection done up to 2050 by BP, and I have estimated these numbers for 2070. Now I know projecting energy basket composition for India up to 2070 is fraught with a lot of uncertainties. Nevertheless, I have hazarded a guess based on some simple assumptions, building on the projection done by BP till 2050 under net zero scenario. India is set to consume 48 MMT of hydrogen in 2050 and 200 MMT of hydrogen by 2070. And this works out to 7.18 CAGR till 2050 and 7.4 CAGR thereafter. This is a net zero scenario with expectation of technology breakthrough and supportive policy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all my dear participants of this webinar. The source materials have been listed here for anybody's reference. Thank you very much. I'm through, Manju. Over to Manju.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a nice information and session. So, sir, if you can just stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, I will. Done.
And I'll request everybody to please post your questions so that we can answer it. And it's not like that we are just switching off at 4 o'clock. We will take all the questions. In the meantime, we are just going to discuss how IESG is contributing towards net zero mission. So as you know, IESG is in certification courses. So what are the running courses at the moment? I'll just show you. So at the moment, we have 3 courses. There is a course 40 days mastering blue hydrogen CCUS technology, which is recently launched on 29th of June. Previously, we launched 90 days foundation program, hydrogen technology application and its economics. And there is another course, very short duration, 50 days elementary program, introduction to hydrogen as a future fuel. So we will just inform you what are the features of these courses. Coming to all the programs, these are all online self-study programs. So the program is delivered through LMS learning module system, and course content is delivered through directed suggested readings and videos. And once again, I'll ask everybody, if you have any questions, please post in chat box. We will answer all the questions. If we talk about our 90 days foundation course, the program is suitable for professionals working in the hydrogen industry and all those organizations which are diversifying into hydrogen industries, and professionals who are interested to know about hydrogen technology and its economics. It can be by professionals who have 3 to 18 years of experience. The 90 days courses basically run over 90 days. One has to complete the course in 90 days. And the program has 12 sessions, 1 viva and 1 project work. And we are providing all the enrolled participants a mentor and a coach, and they can approach their mentors as and when they want to consult them. The participants can appear for viva after session 3 and complete the project work within 90 days. And participant has to score 60% marks to get a certificate. And the course fee for this course is Indian rupees 8,999, and there is a 10% discount to women professionals. We started this 90 days course on 5th of February, and already around 150 professionals have been certified. And these professionals are from very reputed organizations. We'll just mention a few. Means we can see there is Worley, there is Bharat Petroleum, there is Reliance, there is Dosan Power, there is BHEL, EIL, and many more companies. Our next program, which is specialized course, that is 40 days mastering in blue hydrogen. That is again CCU technology, that is carbon capture, usage and storage technology. And this program is designed for working professionals, entrepreneurs, consultants who are interested to know about evolution of blue hydrogen and associated with CCU technology. Technical background is must for this course. So all these people who are already done our first course, they can enroll for the specialized course also. And the program is spaced over 40 days. The program has 4 modules, and after the completing 4 modules, one has to appear for the viva. Participants has to score 50% marks to get the certificate in this course. And at the moment, the program fee is all priced at 6,999 or $140, but there is an early bird price offer going on, which is at 4,999 or $100, and 10% discount to women professionals. So all those who are interested to go for blue hydrogen technology, I will just ask them to register today or within 31st July. Our next course is 15 days elementary program, Introduction to Hydrogen as a Future Fuel. And program is suitable for freshers and students who are interested to see hydrogen as a future fuel and see their career in hydrogen industry or energy industries. This course is suitable for freshers and the students who are 12 plus years. Means any school student can also do the course. This program has 3 chapters only, followed by objective type questions, and participant has to score 40% to get the certificates. The course fee for the this program is 2,999, and an early bird offer is going on till 31st July. So you can very well enroll before 31st July at the rate of 1,999. Our next program, which we are launching very soon from 5th of August, that is electric vehicle technology. So all those who are interested, they can contact Saqib or me for any of the programs and can know more. Now we can take the questions from the chat box. Anybody who have questions related to our programs also can reach us or send their questions in the chat box. So I'll just take the first question, sir.
Yeah.
How much in percentage shifting from fossil fuel to green hydrogen by tentative, which year in India?
Yes.
Are we mentally set in India as we, are we mentally set including safety aspect and budget allocated as compared to China and Europe?
Yeah, thank you for this question. See, these are under various scenario and taking various assumptions into account. BP has made an estimation for our product, Indian product basket composition for various fuels. Now, is this my Excel sheet visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Now, if you look at BP's projection from 2019 till 2050, coal share is going to come down from 45.2% to 5.9%. And as I have extended this up to 2070, taking some assumptions and some of my intuitive knowledge, I don't have a model to make use of, but I have validated this data with some other data and it appears to be more or less correct. It is not important what is that number, but the direction is important. So directionally, coal share is going to come down from 45% now to 3% by the year India achieves the net zero status. Coming to oil, currently it is 23.8%, up to 2050 it is 6.9%, up to 2070 it is 4.4%. Therefore, if you take coal, oil and gas together, the fossil fuel contribution for these, taking these three together comes to currently it is 74%, and by 2070 it is estimated to be around 22%. So that was the first part of the question. And the second part is whether safety aspect has been taken care. Yes, the safety is one of the challenges of this carbon hydrogen usage, and safety measures are being developed by various agencies, including DNV, safety standards, etc. So whenever hydrogen is being used in whichever application, it will be without negotiating the safety. So that is for sure. No one is going to use any energy, be it fossil fuel or be it low emission fuel. No one will take the risk of safety. So that answers perhaps the second part of the question.
So we are taking next question. That question is from Mr. Pradeep Sharma. How ammonia can play a big role in hydrogen transportation?
The ammonia is said to be a derivative of hydrogen, and ammonia, by virtue of being solid substance, and it can be compressed at a relatively lower temperature and pressure than hydrogen can be compressed to liquid. Therefore, ammonia is easy to shift from one place to another. But then there are handling hazards of ammonia, namely it is toxic and it creates a pungent smell. But it is proposed to be used as a carrier of energy, hydrogen-derived energy. I mean, applications or how it will be done, all these are matter of details.
A similar question from Mr. Pankaj Gupta. How ammonia and methanol can play a role in decarbonization of Indian economy?
The ammonia and methanol, being derivative of hydrogen, satisfy all the decarbonized features of hydrogen. In a sense, when they are used at the user level, the emission is zero, and at the production level, if it is coming from renewable energy, then their emission is also zero. So ammonia and methanol, if they are produced from green, in the way green hydrogen is produced, the life cycle emission of greenhouse gas is zero, and therefore they contribute to the decarbonization drive of our country. Yes, next question.
Yeah, we can take next question from Mr. Sudha Ranjan Sahu. Can you please indicate as to what could be production cost of green hydrogen per kg in India as per the existing technology being imported from advanced countries?
Yeah, thank you, Zausab. I think I had a slide, and that slide has been prepared by Niti Aayog, and it's a 22 June publication. Therefore, I take it latest. Currently in India, the production cost of green hydrogen ranges from $4 to say $7, and production of gray hydrogen ranges from $3.5 to $7 per kg, and production of brown hydrogen, which is produced from coal, it ranges from $3.2 to $6 per kg. There is a slide and there is a whole report by Niti Aayog. It is available in their site.
Our next question is from Mr. Naveen Kumar. Can I know the safety norms to be followed while using hydrogen as a future fuel?
There are elaborate safety standards, and some of them are already prepared, some of them are being prepared. The leading agency who is preparing those safety standards are DNV, and those standards are already being used in some of the European countries where hydrogen is being used in good measure. And detailed norms are, I mean, we have to see those, refer those to those documents.
One question from Mr. Satish. How can we use hydrogen in vehicle?
Hydrogen is being used in the vehicle in the form of hydrogen fuel cell. Hydrogen fuel cell is something similar, very close to battery. However, battery needs to be recharged, and hydrogen fuel cell need not be recharged as long as hydrogen is supplied. Like any other gas, the hydrogen gets, the fuel cell gets activated and energy gets generated and vehicle moves. And hydrogen fuel cells are being used in automobiles, in trains, and also it is being proposed to be used in marine application.
One question from Mr. Amarnath. Please share your views on hydrogen mixing with natural gas in CGD business and how safe it is to use.
This is being done. Yeah, this blending of hydrogen with natural gas for CGD application is being done at some places in the world. And in India, there was a pilot being conducted by NTPC in Indore. Pilot has been done, and recommended ratio of blending is 15%, 15 to I think 15%. So with 15% blending, with this current kind of quality of pipeline, valves, etc., etc. This pilot has been done at Indore by NTPC.
Connecting to this question only, sir, how end users are going to benefit from it? Will there be any additional cost for usage of same amount of heat?
See, the pricing is something which I am not going into details at what price it will be sold to the consumers, because the production cost structure of hydrogen is such that it is high. But if we have to create a market, then naturally we have to sell the product at a subsidized price. So how this pricing is being issued for the CGD business, I am not very sure. But generally we know that it needs a pricing support.
Next question from Mr. Nikhilesh. What is carbon capture, utilization and storage, and how it works? That's it.
See, the carbon capture is the existing carbon dioxide. All the new carbon dioxide that is being generated by some use has to be captured by way of carbon dioxide. There are many technical ways available. I am not going into technicalities of it, but basically it is capturing the carbon dioxide from air, either existing or getting generated by new use, and then either use it or store it. Now, a known use is that this carbon dioxide is pumped into crude oil wells for enhanced oil recovery purpose. It is being used somewhere internationally, and in India, it has been started on pilot basis, on experimental basis by ONGC, and a report has been prepared by Ministry of Petroleum, and it is in the public domain in their website. Then the question is storage. Now, generally it is stored in natural reservoir like caverns, etc. Again, these are high-tech subjects. Studies are being done. Lot of geological conditions govern this application. But one thing we know, that in India it has not been done, and it has a lot of risk and safety factors which are being kind of tested. It's a work in progress. And if we have this CCUS technology, then the existing carbon in the atmosphere can be captured, and the hydrogen that is produced as gray hydrogen from fossil fuel, methane, and brown hydrogen from coal can be then converted into low carbon emission hydrogen, which is called blue hydrogen. And IESD is offering a course on that, specialized course on that.
There is a question from Mr. Vijay Kumar. How hydrogen is valuable in construction industry?
Construction industry uses cement and steel largely. And this cement and steel, currently they are using fossil fuel for their heating application. Now it is possible that hydrogen can be used for heating purpose in cement industry and steel industry. And to that extent, the construction industry can be made green construction, green buildings. Now there are concepts in the internationally green steel, green cement, which means these are being produced using green hydrogen.
Another question from Shifa Jindal. Is there any research on how much hydrogen can be mixed with natural gas without changing the current natural gas pipeline of grade 70?
It's 15% in India, and internationally, lot of studies are being done that how much more can be done. Currently, it is 15% in India.
Question from Mr. Naveen Reddy. How knowledge transfer has been planned by Indian government to develop the skill set among individuals and professionals other than professionals working in hydrogen industry?
See, government, there are many universities or institutes who are offering programs on hydrogen. There are many R&D setups funded by the government. They are doing R&D on hydrogen. However, immediate and very certain knowledge platform is created by IESD, Indian Energy Skill Development, under whose sponsorship we are talking now. IESD has a foundation level course on hydrogen, an elementary course on hydrogen, and an advanced course on blue hydrogen. And IESD is coming up with some more advanced specialized courses like hydrogen in marine application, like today's topic, like hydrogen for net zero. Such advanced programs are coming up under the management of IESD. Yes.
Just one second. Another question from Mr. Prabal Kansal. Can you please explain the embrittlement concept where hydrogen gets absorbed on the pipe surface and extracted later?
See, technically, I am not very competent to speak on embrittlement, but in layman's language, what I understand, when you are using hydrogen in a pipeline, hydrogen by virtue of its own properties, the pipeline can break, can brittle, can, in that sense, it can develop cracks. However, this is a technical question. I am not very competent to answer elaborately. I have said what I generally, in layman's language, what I understand. Thank you. Next.
Question from Shifa Jindal. You have mentioned 15% of blending is permissible in natural gas. Is there any evidence or research that current infrastructure is suitable for this much blending?
Every infrastructure is to be tested for its application before it is done. That is coming to the infrastructure part. But what I have said, 15%, yes, it is available in the literature, and a pilot has been done by NTPC, the CGD at Indore, which gas, there is a particular company name, CGT at Indore, it is being used. And similarly, of course, transport sector, it is being done at Delhi and in Leh, etc. It is being, hydrogen is being used for mobility test purpose. Yeah.
Next question from Mr. Salab Gupta. Is blue hydrogen not more cheaper solution than green hydrogen, as CCS extension only needs to be done by gray/brown hydrogen producers?
See, the literature says green hydrogen is cheaper. Green hydrogen is an immediate solution. I'm sorry, blue hydrogen. The question was blue hydrogen, no?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Literature says blue hydrogen is cheaper than green hydrogen, and it is an immediate solution for low carbon hydrogen. But then the real benefit of blue hydrogen is that because it is economical and because it is immediately, it can be done, but of course, with the availability of CCUS technology, blue hydrogen is in a position to create demand much before green hydrogen becomes competitive and economical and affordable. So blue hydrogen is being advocated as a precursor to green hydrogen. But then there are arguments against this also. The arguments which are against this, they say, they are saying this carbon capture, what we are saying, it is not 100% carbon capture. To some places, at some places it is 50%, some places it is 90%. Therefore, the low emission purpose which we are saying is not served if it is a blue hydrogen using CCUS technology. Second argument against this is that if you get used to blue hydrogen, then green hydrogen may not come up at all. Therefore, the argument is straight go to green hydrogen, which is an ultimate solution to the in the context of decarbonization or low emission or least zero emission. However, the consensus that is coming in the literature is that we can take blue hydrogen as precursor to green hydrogen using CCUS technology and taking the percentage recovery of carbon dioxide to 90%. Yeah.
And I'll say all those who are participants, all those who are interested for our elementary program and blue hydrogen program, since the fee is early bird till 31st July, all those who want to register, they can do it before 31st July, because again, the price fee which is mentioned will be applicable after 31st July. We are going to take next question, sir. This is from Mr. Dipankar Adhikari. As this projection of 2.3% of total energy sector will be contributed by hydrogen in 2050, is it significant contribution with respect to hydrogen technology work going on?
See, this 2.3% as per BP by 2050 does not appear to be a significant contribution. To the extent I agree. But if you see the renewable contribution is 63%. And that 63% is coming from 21% by 2019. So the energy composition in future will be electricity dominance. And once that energy composition is dominated by electricity, and if it is supplemented by hydrogen, then the large percentage of it remains low emission. However, this is not a 100% emission-free situation. 100% emission-free situation can only happen under net zero condition, that is 2070. But by then, what will be the contribution of hydrogen? As per my projection, it is 7.3%. And others like coal is getting reduced to 3.5%, oil is getting reduced to 4.4%. These are very, very minuscule. So if you look at the decarbonization as a trend, then whatever happens in 2050 is only an intermediate status. It's not the final status. However, the 2.3% in terms of absolute number is 48 MMT. And currently we are at the level of around 7 MMT. So from 7 to 48 till 2050, and then to set something like 100 till 2070, or even more than 100 to the extent it is required. These are giant leaps. So what we are talking about, even if that 2.3% happens in 2050, that itself is a sizable volume. If in percent, even if in percentage terms, it looks low. Thank you.
Question from Ranjan Kumar. Any advanced course in hydrogen, including electrical technology? At the moment with the IESD, it's not there, but definitely in coming months, we will have. Sir, next question is from Mr. Anish Goswami. Sir, don't you think that industrial hydrogen cluster technology in regard to net zero would be a big asset?
Yes, it is being advocated that to promote demand and usage of hydrogen, we should have a cluster of industries using hydrogen. And even a location has been suggested in the NITI Aayog document, a location in Gujarat. And there are some other favorable factors have been considered, like availability, usage, etc., etc. So having a industrial hub is being spoken about. It would help to create a demand. Yes. And particularly so because transportation of hydrogen at the moment is not so easy and it's not so economical.
For today's webinar, last question from Mr. Ashish Mathur. Sir, it is evident that hydrogen is not economically viable fuel when compared to fossil fuels. Even if all governments across the world take steps to encourage hydrogen-based economy, still consumption of fossil fuels will still be preferred till it gets exhausted or gets it's more expensive than hydrogen production. Environment pollution will only be secondary to economics involved.
Okay, it's an opinion. I am not debating on the opinion, but what is worrying the global scientific community is the global warming phenomena which is happening now. Even now, as we are speaking, Europe is reeling under heat wave. And there was a news just yesterday or day before that there have been incidents of fire. Even the runway of Heathrow Airport the bitumen got melted. So airport operation came to standstill. So all these things, what is happening? Now, if this happens and continue to happen, then do we have an alternative as to arrest this increasing carbon emission by using this fossil fuel only because it is economical? That is a question which scientific community is addressing. That fossil fuel is available, it is being used. That's not a question at all. Question is the consequence of global warming and climatic extreme weather situation that is happening. How to deal with that? That is the challenge. And hydrogen is coming as a solution to those problems. Hydrogen is not being offered as a easier or competitive option vis-a-vis fossil fuel. No. Point is, fossil fuel and deep carbonization has to be arrested. Now, how? That is the question. Okay. There are many opinions. So we cannot have a debate on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for answering all the questions patiently. And I'll just request all the participants to visit our website, iesd.in, and we will keep coming on such kind of knowledge sharing sessions. And you can enroll for programs also, which are available on our website. So as I have informed, there is an early bird going on, and there is a huge discount on courses. So please avail this. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. Thank you from me to all participants and IEST. Thank you. Bye-bye.